A coalition of members of opposition parties has dismissed the declaration of emergency rule in Rivers State by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as unconstitutional and called on him to immediately lift the suspension on Governor Siminalayi Fubara, the Deputy Governor Dr. Ngozi Odu, and the State House of Assembly. In a press conference at the Umaru Musa Yar'Adua Center on Thursday, under the aegis of conference by concerned leaders and political stakeholders, former Vice President Atiku, along with other political stakeholders, condemned the action taken by President Tinubu, describing it as unlawful and unconstitutional. Atiku stated that the removal of the governor was unlawful because there was no war in Rivers State, which could have constituted a legitimate ground for removing a sitting governor. He added that there are provisions in the constitution under which a sitting governor could be removed.
Illegal removal of a governor in state assembly. Without any doubt, the Nigerian constitution does not empower the president to remove an elected governor, deputy governor, or state assembly under any circumstances. The procedure for removing a governor is clearly outlined in Section 188 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended through an impeachment process initiated by the State House of Assembly, not by presidential proclamation or arbitrary pronouncement. Use of Section 305 of State of Emergency. Section 305 of the Constitution allows the President to declare a state of emergency only in the extreme cases where public safety, national security, or Nigeria's sovereignty is at serious risk. However, it does not grant him the power to suspend elected officials or to demolish democratic structures as he has presently done in Rivers State. The conditions under Section 3053 for declaring a state of emergency include the following: war or external aggression, breakdown of public order and safety, natural disasters or any other grave emergency threatening Nigeria's corporate existence. None of these conditions exist in current circumstances in Rivers State. There is no war, no widespread violence, and no breakdown of law and order, warranting emergency declaration.
The coalition called for the immediate reversal of the president's action and the reinstatement of the sitting governor.
Demand and call to action. We call on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to immediately revoke this unconstitutional proclamation and reinstate the elected governor, deputy governor, and state assembly of Rivers State. National Assembly retention. We call on patriotic senators and representatives to vote against this illegal action when it comes before them for approval. The National Assembly must stand on the right side of history and not allow itself to be used to legitimize an unconstitutional power grab. Judicial intervention. We urge the judiciary to act swiftly in striking down this proclamation, as it says a dangerous precedent that could be used to arbitrarily remove any governor in the future. I am very happy to read the ruling of a judge in Rivers State, which directed the status quo.
Atiku called on all Nigerians to defend democracy and support the call, and it should not just be a call by the opposition or the coalition. He appealed that the desire to hold on to power by all costs should not drive the country into war and anarchy, stating that this is not about Rivers State alone, but a fight for democracy.
Nigerians must defend democracy. It's not only the responsibility of the opposition to defend democracy. It is the responsibility of all Nigerians, all of you, to defend democracy.
When reminded of a similar event that played out during the Obasanjo administration in 2004, former Governor of Kaduna State, Nasiru El-Rufai, affirmed that it was unlawful then, noting that the Supreme Court waded in and ruled that under no circumstances should a sitting governor or legislators be removed without going through due processes. He described President Tinubu's action as unconstitutional and called on the National Assembly to do the needful as many Nigerians are waiting on them.
It is true that in those cases the governors were suspended. These suspensions were challenged in the courts. In 2006, the Supreme Court of Nigeria gave a judgment clearly stating that even though by then Daria had been restored to office, but lashed the Obasanjo administration and said that under no circumstances would the emergency provisions in Section 205 be used to remove elected official. That is the law. The Supreme Court has spoken. No legislation or constitutional amendment has changed that. So that is the law. No one, no person or authority can remove an elected official, whether governor, deputy governor, or member of the legislature, without going through the due process of law. What President Tinubu has done is violently unconstitutional and unlawful. And our hope is that the National Assembly will for once today, this National Assembly, that everyone accuses of being rubber stamp, will at least for once stand with the people of Nigeria.
Other political actors present include former Governor of Imo State, Mr. Emeka Ihedioha, former Secretary to the Federal Government, Babachir Lawal, Dr. Yunus Atanko, who represented Mr. Peter Obi, Labour Party presidential candidate, amongst others. President Bola Tinubu on Tuesday in a nationwide broadcast declared a state of emergency in Rivers State and suspended the Governor Siminalayi Fubara, the Deputy Governor Dr. Ngozi Odu, and the State House of Assembly for 6 months, stating protracted political crisis in the state as the reason for his actions. The coalition coming up at a time like this is seen as a major force to emerge against the ruling APC party ahead of the 2027 general election. In Abuja for True Vision TV, Ebere Anyebo.